Okay guys, it's 12-inch PvPness and we're going to update the Urgot runes. So as of late, meta's shifted. Spellbook is now a much more viable option. It's not experimental anymore. Grasp is pretty much set in stone to be the best for hard lanes, and Comet is a comeback, of course, with the corrupting pot change. Well, not the change, but the meta shift. So we're gonna have 3 pages we can go. As I have found, we have 3. So let's go to our collection, let's go to runes, and let's make 3. Okay, so we're on page 11. Let's fix this one. So first off is we're going to do our comet page. So AERY is not viable anymore. Period. I'm pretty sure I have the comet page over here. So AERY is not viable anymore after the nerf, which is very sad. And I wish I could play with it, but they fucked it. Another thing you may notice here is I have magical footwear instead of stopwatch, and the reason for that is because stopwatch also got nerfed back to 10 minutes. And the thing with stopwatch is like when you could use it earlier, you had a bigger time window where you could gain value from it, so it made sense, right? But footwear, at bare minimum, at 10 minutes, will gain value, period. Right? I think it's worth like 350 gold. It'll just be gaining value, right? You don't have to wait till mid game, right? It's not third item, so you get cooldown. You know, it's not a flashy play that you have to make, even though those are nice. You can't always afford to wait for it. Versus movement speed's always an issue with Urgot, and being able to not have to buy boots so you can go into your black cleaver faster is excellent. And also, if you have 300 gold laying around, cloth armor, yada yada. I mean, blase blah, it's already there. So, obviously, we're going to primary Comet for our Comet page. So Comet, mana flow band, I mean, I think it's fairly obvious why you take this. You have, I wouldn't say mana issues in lane, but if you're going to max Q and Q spam, which you do when you take Comet, it's just nice to have the extra mana. Especially when you're taking Time Warp with the Corrupting Pot. Because your Q doesn't consume enough mana for Corrupting Pot to be able to give you health and mana, generally, right? But if you're hitting them with either your passive or your Q, Mana Flow Band procs, and then that's an extra 25 mana that you can fill up with your Corrupting Pot. So it's not placebo 25 mana, it's actually 25. It's a resource, which generally mana isn't, and it's generally placebo, so it's very nice to have that. Transcendence, I mean, this is obvious. I don't know. I mean, Celerity's been shit on I don't know how many times. No. Absolute Focus is okay, but Urgot is just too scrappy. You know what I mean? Like, that dude is in front of everybody, getting hit and hitting. He's not staying over 70%. He's going up, getting chunked to maybe 50%, 40%, going back, coming up when his W's up. He's going through front and back line over and over again. He's not trying to burst. I mean, he can burst, but not at 70% max. And then Gathering Storm, I mean, Scorch got shit on. I'll say this though, for those of you who were playing Scorch before, Scorch is much better now than it was before, because before Scorch's big issue was you hit Scorch, you hit Bone Blading, right? Goodbye Scorch. But if your cooldown on Scorch is 10 seconds, you're gonna be hitting Scorch like what, 3 times every time you go for a Q? I mean, that shit's tight. I personally still like Gathering Storm because, I mean, late games is Urgot. I mean, you need some way to scale. You already have enough early game with Arcane and Time Warp. Inspiration Tree secondary. I mean, Domination Tree just got absolutely shit on. I have no idea why they did it because the tree was already so bad. Precision, we don't need any attack speed. I mean, these are okay. It's just not good enough. Versus getting 12 total AD to start is great. So, pick up footwear. As much as I want to take approach velocity, you can't. Not right now. I mean, some pages you can. I take it on my Spellbook page, but if you're starting Corrupting Pot like you do with a Comet page, you absolutely need Time Warp. I mean, it's not even question. I mean, 5% movement speed. I mean, late game when you buy a potion, you just get permanent 5% movement speed, right? So you get your potion iron or your elixir iron late game, or your elixir of wrath, because you're trying to make shit happen. 5% extra MS late game. There's no downside to this. I I I mean the meta shifted so hard into it. So that is probably like an aggressive page, probably more suited towards beginners. This is the page that I've been generally using. I've been trying out the other page more just because it's so strong. This is probably currently my favorite page. I mean it's nuts. Unsealed, you can take Smite, TP, Ghost, Exhaust. If you're running low on mana and lane, Insta Clarity. I mean this shit is it's wild. The only downside to this page is you have to start out with a Dorn's Blade or a Call. You can't go Corrupting Pot here. I mean, you can't. You don't have any damage, right? If you have extra AD, it's okay. You know, you're doing like maybe half an AERY every auto, so it's fine, right? But if you're going Corrupting Pot, you're really taking an L on damage. You can't do it. And if you're not taking Corrupting Pot, Velocity's cool. I like minion demats. I'm sure Biscuit Delivery is fine. Because of its good synergy with Mana Flow Band. I'm not sold on it. You know, I'm not taking Time Warp Tonic, so I'm not really huge on it. Versus minion demats are really good for pushing lane and getting like surprise level 6s. Futures Market, I'm not a huge fan of. You know, going in debt to buy items, lending fee 50. There's nothing that Urgot needs that quickly for it to make any sense. Mana Flow Band, Transcendence. 10% CD, mana efficiency. You know, both. It's a full utility page. It's great. Arguably, you could go like Absolute Focus Scorch or something like that to offset balance and damage like that. But this is playing for mid game, right? I mean, you're playing for your Black Cleaver Frozen Mallet combo, and you're waiting. You know, 10 minutes in the game, 2 items in the game. You know, level 10 in Unsealed's ramping up, Flowband is ramping up. Your whole thing is ramping up to mid game, so there's no need to take like offensive shit back here. That's another reason why Cull is such a good start with this page. Of course, if you're comfortable in the lane, if you're not comfortable, take a Dorn's Blade or a Dorn's Shield if it's really bad. But if you're taking a Dorn's Shield, we have another page that you could take. So I mentioned earlier, this is my Urgot into Renekton page. And this is actually just a page for anybody you have trouble with. You know, for me, it's Renekton, Aatrox, Pantheon. It's not even necessarily people that I have trouble with, but people that need sustained damage, right? Generally melee that I can just kind of poke a bunch of times and proc Grasp. Because the thing is like, giving you 3 health every time you proc Grasp, it doesn't matter. You could proc Grasp fucking 80 times. Nobody gives a shit. It doesn't matter late game. It doesn't matter early game. It's like 5 damage on Grasp, and it's it's a little bit on your shield, I guess. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's almost placebo, right? Grasp, the procs are placebo, essentially. You know, because I mean, even Overgrowth goes past it, and it's Overgrowth, you know? I mean, like, Overgrowth is good for like 200. That's less placebo. As a keystone, this should probably give you more. But the thing is when your arm glows green and you are slotted to get 3 extra HP, nobody wants to deal with you. Everybody wants to back off. It's a ton of pressure. Panth doesn't want to Q you. Renekton doesn't want to go in. Aatrox doesn't want to give you 3 HP. Nobody wants to give you 3 HP. It's mental. This is a mental keystone. If somebody has a brain on their shoulders, it is more difficult to use this. But either way, because you're taking Inspiration Secondary, you have all this extra HP to start, right? You have Second Wind alongside your Doran Shield, which is huge, and you have Overgrowth, which can be switched out with Revitalize, depending on how all in the opponent is versus how pokey they are. If you're here against Pantheon, Revitalize might be the keystone for you here, or the rune for you here. Secondary tree is going to be magical footwear into approach velocity. This is your coin flip page. You coin flip here. If you're against Aatrox, Renekton, Panth, right? Biggest three offenders for this page. If you're against those guys, right, your mid game is stronger than their mid game. So the whole point of this rune page is just getting you to mid game. If you get to mid game, you kick ass, right? They get to mid game, they're falling off. So take this, coin flip your lane, and hope the other lanes don't do shitty. That's what this page is. So those are my 3 current pages for Urgot. Urgot jungle. I don't even know. I mean, I suggested this in the last video. I'm gonna talk about an Urgot jungle page simply because I think people probably need it if you play that. But play simple jungler. Don't do this to yourself. I mean, this page is probably still the page I would take. You know, switching between Bloodline and Tenacity depending on what the enemy team looks like. You know, taking Celerity, Water Walking to try and have any kind of movement speed in the river. Again, don't do this to yourself. Don't play this. Okay? If you're playing ADC Urgot, just take this page, right? Start Corrupting Pot. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Boom. You're going Urgot support. I think it's over here. I don't know. I mean, this page is a whole lot worse now too because what they did to Cheap Shot and what they did to the other one. So do yourself a favor. Don't play Urgot support. Don't play Urgot jungle. The pages are here if you want them. Save yourself the trauma of playing those. That's it. If you guys have any questions, you know, I'm live on Twitch a lot. My Discord's in the description, so just, you know, or you could use the comments, of course. I'll see you guys later, and good luck with the new runes, guys.